Hi, my name's Jack and welcome to Kit Guru. In today's video, I'm taking a look at the Backforce One Plus gaming chair made by a company called Interstuhl in Germany. This chair offers 5D armrests, premium materials, and a ton of ergonomic options so you can fine-tune this how you like. The chair has been tested on people between 45 and 130 kilos in weight and between 151 and 192 centimeters in height, so it covers a variety of shapes and sizes. Priced at around €685, which is about £580, this certainly is not a cheap chair, and in this video we're going to see if it's worth spending your money on. Building the One Plus is fairly straightforward, and here are the steps I needed to take. When you first open the box, you'll find the parts set out, and you'll want to find the essentials first, the setup guide and the bag of accessories that includes an Allen wrench and 6 screws that you definitely don't want to lose. The first step to put this together is to get these round plastic things and put them on the casters, then force the casters into the base. Next, you want to put the gas lift into the base. This is super easy. Then you want to put the seat onto the gas lift, and again, this is fairly straightforward, and you can ensure that it's on there properly by just sitting on it. Next is the trickiest bit, so putting the backrest on. The backrest is quite long and it's quite heavy and an awkward shape, so getting this right wasn't easy. I actually spent ages trying to do this without the aid of the box. But what you want to do is push the base up against the box and then put the backrest on top of the box, and then you can easily put this together, and you'll need the smaller screws to tighten this up. Honestly, use this box method, it makes putting this together 100 times easier. Once the backrest is screwed in, the last thing you have to do is attach the lumbar control dial, and you just need the 2 longer screws for this. Now I did find tightening these screws difficult because of the placement. The Allen key kept bashing the other control dial, which was a bit frustrating, but once you get this screwed in, the chair is basically done. The last finishing touch is adding this LED logo disc in the back. To use this, just press this once for an always on LED, or press it again for a breathing effect. This can actually be customized with any logo, as you can just pop off the plastic casing, and the LED has a battery life of around 20 hours and is rechargeable via USB. Now, although this little LED does look cool, it's at the back of the chair, so I can't see it, and there's no one around that's going to see it, so I'm probably going to leave this off, but I guess if you have this in like an environment with other people, then the LED will be a cool touch, but yeah, I think for most users, they're probably just going to keep it off. Now, once you put this chair together, it weighs around 29 kilos, which is heavy. I would recommend building this chair wherever it is you're going to use it. Unfortunately for me, I had to build this in a different room because this office is way too small to build a chair in it, and it was not fun at all dragging this through the hallway, trying to get it in the door, and yeah, I advise you, if you're going to build this chair, build it in the room you're going to put it in. Overall though, building this chair was easy. If you're familiar with sort of flat packed furniture in any way, then it's not really any different. Just put a few things together, tighten some screws, and you're good to go. Reviewing chairs is always a bit tricky because you have to spend a lot of time actually using it and testing all the different features before giving an opinion. And with the One Plus, there is a lot of different features here in terms of ergonomics, so it does take a while to get your head around. So if you've never had a chair like this, maybe you've just had one with a gas lift and that's about it, I would definitely recommend just spending some time with this chair, getting to know it, trying out all the different features. I will say as well that the little instruction graphic that comes with the chair to explain all the different ergonomic controls is pretty much useless. It really didn't help me to understand any of the features. You're better off just sitting on the chair, trying all the different features for yourself and seeing what they do. So the version of the One Plus that I have is black with green accents. And I think this looks great against the darker colour of the chair, especially on the stitching, the word mark area near the headrest, and these horizontal lines on the backrest and seat. If you're not a fan of green, you can also get the chair with red, blue, yellow or grey accents, and there's also a white gold model and a black gold model, as well as a number of team chairs that cost a little bit extra. I've got to say that the craftsmanship on this chair is top tier. There's not a single stitch out of place, but then you would expect that for this price point. And although the One Plus does have a slight gamer aesthetic to it, I still think it looks smart and sophisticated compared to other gaming chairs out there. Even turning the chair around, there's these green accents on the back, which I think looks nice. A lot of other cheaper gaming chairs just have a all black back to them, which can look like, I don't know, no one really thought about the design, whereas with this chair, it really seems like Backforce have thought about all the little details, which again, you'd expect for this price point, but it just makes it feel all that more premium. One nice feature on the One Plus is the removable patches on either shoulder. So out of the box you get Backforce branded Velcro patches, but you can actually customize your own for an additional €12 on the website. And we have these custom KitGuru ones which add a really nice personalized touch to the chair without a huge cost attached. And I think €12 is more than reasonable for these patches. Before you spend nearly £600 on a chair, you're going to want to make sure the materials are premium, and the One Plus definitely doesn't disappoint. The base included is a 5-spoke design that has a combination of black and polished aluminium, which looks brilliant and feels incredibly sturdy. There's also a logo and word mark on one of the spokes, and although this adds absolutely nothing in terms of performance, it does look great in terms of the aesthetics. The casters we have here are plastic, although they're of good quality. They're 6.5 centimeters in size and offer smooth and quiet movement on carpet and wood floors. There's no brake mechanism on these, which isn't really an issue for me, but it would have been nice to have seen at this price point. You get a class 4 gas lift on this chair, which is suitable for people between 45 and 130 kilos, which should be the majority of people out there. It's nice and smooth, it's quiet, and I have no complaints with it at all. At its lowest, the seat is around 42 centimeters from the ground, and at its highest, it's around 57 centimeters, so the gas lift will give you around 15 centimeters of height adjustment, although this may be a bit lower due to compression. This chair features two primary materials, PU leather and faux suede. The headrest is covered in PU leather and features the debossed Backforce icon, which looks simple but sleek. Then underneath we have a diamond cushion design to support your neck and shoulders. I do have one criticism when it comes to this area of the chair, but I'll get to that later in the comfort section. Moving lower down, the chair splits into two sections with faux suede running centrally and PU leather at the sides for the bolsters and edge of the seat. I think this is a great design because the faux suede is nice and soft where your body is, and then at the edges you've got this PU leather to support you. But I do have criticisms when it comes to these materials. Firstly, PU leather. I'm not a big fan of it. In summer it can get hot, although obviously not as hot as real leather. I have a Steelcase Think V2 chair, and that's what I've been using for years, and that is a mesh back, and it's so cool in summer, and it just doesn't retain any heat whatsoever. Whereas the last few days here in the UK have been pretty hot, and I've definitely noticed the difference when using this compared to my mesh chair. And considering I'm in a fairly small office room with a PC pumping out hot air constantly, I do try to keep myself cool, and unfortunately PU leather just doesn't offer that. And when it comes to the faux suede, this is a material that needs a lot of upkeep. It can absorb a lot of dirt and grease. If you're someone that eats at your computer, this might be an issue. But also in general, faux suede is known to start to wear down over time, something that you don't really see with mesh chairs, which is why I just prefer them. But as long as you keep on top of it and clean this, you should be able to maintain the quality. It would just be such a shame to spend this much on a chair and then 2 years down the line it'll look really rough. So we can all agree that the One Plus looks like a great chair, but let's talk about the ergonomic features, and there's quite a few to go through. Starting with the 5D armrests, these can move in and out, back and forth, left and right, and if you hold this top button, you can adjust the height of the armrests by approximately 8 centimeters, and there are 6 levels of height adjustment in total. But what's quite unique to the One Plus is this second button that can be used to push the armrests back entirely. And this is probably most useful when you want to tuck your chair under your desk. Now, out of the 2 buttons on the armrests, the top one is really smooth. You just click it in and you can push the armrest up and down, but the one at the bottom feels really stiff. Now I don't know if it's just my model, but adjusting this armrest backwards and forwards with that bottom button is really difficult. The armrests on the One Plus do have a little secret. You can actually remove this faux suede cover section entirely to reveal a thinner PU coated armrest underneath. Now this is a padded armrest, and personally I actually prefer this thinner one because I think it looks more in line with the design of the chair. This one feels a little bit too thick and bulky, and it just doesn't look as sleek as the rest of the One Plus. For those of you with longer legs, you can adjust the seat depth on this by putting this little lever underneath the right side of the chair. Just for reference, I'm around 5'7", and the default position is fine for me. And pulling the seat out will give you around 8 centimeters more depth. You can also adjust the seat tilt. So in the default position, it's angled slightly downwards, and then if you pull this little lever, it pushes the chair higher up. Personally, I prefer the default position, just feels more comfortable, but it's great that you've got this option. The chair features 3 different control dials for lumbar adjustment, recline tension, and recline lock. And as I mentioned earlier, the manual that comes with this chair is not that easy to understand, and you are better off just trying out all these different dials and seeing what they do. The dial on the right of the chair controls the recline tension, so on the lightest setting, you can just recline back really easily without much pressure. On the heavier setting, you do need to put a bit of pressure into it to actually move the chair back, and there's 7 different weight tensions in total. Personally, I prefer my chairs to be set so that you need more pressure to move backwards. I don't like accidentally rocking back just from the slightest bit of pressure, and it's great that you've got all these different options. On the left of the chair, you have 2 more dials. The one at the top is for the lumbar support adjustment. When this is pressed in, if you start rotating the dial, the lumbar support in the chair actually comes outwards more into your back. And then if you pull out the dial and start rotating it, it goes up or down. So you can actually change the depth of the lumbar support and the height, which is great because obviously not everybody is the same height and has the same sort of curvature to their spine, but you can actually dial it in exactly with this chair. I did try to film this so you could actually see it in action, but all the changes really take place inside the chair in terms of the cushion kind of coming outwards. You can't really see it from the outside. My biggest complaint of this lumbar adjustment mechanism on the chair is the fact that it actually takes quite a lot of pressure and sort of strength to adjust the dial. I guess for most of you, once you've got this into a comfortable position, you'll just set it and forget it, but I do wish the Backforce made this system a little bit easier to use because yeah, the amount of strength you need to adjust the dial is just ridiculous. The final dial is the recline lock. So once unlocked, you can recline the chair up to 135 degrees from the 90-degree position, which is more than enough, I think, for most people, although if you're someone that likes 180-degree reclines, then obviously this won't give you that. You can also lock in a particular recline if you want to, so you can sit back and relax without having to add any pressure to the chair. The recline is also synchronous, meaning that when the chair reclines backwards, so does the seat, which is much better for ergonomics. And the recline on this chair is smooth and quiet, and I've got no complaints with it at all. I think it's great that we get all of these different ergonomic options on the One Plus, considering the one major complaint of gaming chairs in general is the lack of ergonomics, and it's clear that Backforce have tried their best to put as many different options in the One Plus as possible. So let's move on to the most important part of any chair, the comfort. So the One Plus has a fairly relaxed design, and it doesn't have those sort of pronounced side bolsters like most gaming chairs. I mentioned earlier that I would revisit this sort of diamond cushion section, and the main thing I wanted to talk about was the angle of it. So I have quite broad shoulders, and the one thing I noticed about this chair is that when I actually lean back into it, the chair is sort of angled inwards, which pushes my shoulders forwards, and I don't know if that's such a good thing long term. So far I've had no issues with it, I've not had any shoulder pain or anything like that, but long term, who knows, like this might be an issue if it's pushing my shoulders sort of forwards all the time. I can see it potentially being an issue. I like to sit more upright in a chair, so I don't know. But for now, it's not been a problem. Unfortunately, I do have one more major criticism about this chair, and it's the headrest. So I'm sitting up straight in the chair right now, and my head is nowhere near the headrest. To actually make any kind of contact with it, you really need to push your neck back and force yourself into the headrest, which isn't comfortable at all. I actually made a similar criticism when I reviewed the TC60 from Corsair last year, that unless you were leaning back with your neck to look at a TV on the ceiling or something, you're probably never going to make use of these headrests. What most of these companies do, which I find quite frustrating, is that their solution for this is to offer a neck pillow. And for €30, Backforce actually sell one of these. But what I would have preferred to have seen was a headrest built into the chair that costs nearly £600 that actually makes a connection with your head when you're just sat in it upright. So the seat that we get on the One Plus is a dual core seat, and it measures around 53 centimeters wide and 42 centimeters deep. Now for those of you who like putting 2 legs up, I did this test and it was not comfortable at all. Even with the seat depth pushed forward that extra 8 centimeters, my legs were still hanging off. You may get away with having just 1 leg up, that might work, but quite honestly it wasn't comfortable. So why is this called a dual core seat? Well, it does feature 2 different types of foam with varying hardness. There's a softer foam in the central area to support you, and a thicker, harder foam at the edges to support your hips and legs. And honestly, after sitting in this chair for 8+ hours a day for the last few weeks, all I can say is that it is incredibly comfortable. So those of you who go on about gaming chairs not being ergonomic, not being comfortable, blah blah blah, this actually is a very comfortable chair, at least in my experience. And the only reason that this chair really is actually quite comfortable is because of all of these different ergonomic options. I've dialed in my lumbar support exactly how I need it, and I've had no issues at all with my back while I've been using this chair. When it comes to comfort, I really cannot complain about the One Plus, but what I will complain about is that lumbar support dial. It just needs way too much strength to adjust, and it just feels like it goes on forever. But as I said, once you've set it, you can just forget it. Other than that slight criticism, this chair performs exceptionally well. But is it worth nearly £600? Well, that'll depend entirely on your preference. It's more expensive than several gaming chairs from Secret Lab and Noble. However, there are plenty of ergonomic office chairs from brands like Herman Miller that cost £1,000 plus, so in comparison this isn't actually too bad. Personally, I prefer mesh chairs, so I probably wouldn't buy it, but the Backforce One Plus may be perfect for you. So that brings me to the end of my review of the One Plus gaming chair. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, it really helps out the Kit Guru channel. If you want to see more from us, subscribe, hit that bell icon as well, and you'll be notified when we upload another video. If you want to pick up one of these Kit Guru t-shirts, the links are in the description, and you can also support us on Patreon to unlock some exclusive content. That's it from me, my name's Jack, you've been watching Kit Guru, and I'll see you in the next video.